If you are a Georgia State resident, sit your ass down.
Do you know what day it is? It's not your anniversary, y'all. It's time to go vote. Okay? At least register to vote. Today, April 20th. This is the deadline, okay? So I need you to go ahead and register to vote. It's very easy. We need you at the polls this year, okay? We're not playing no games. It don't take you a long time to register. It don't take you a long time to vote. No excuses. Vote. Let's see what happened. Okay, don't rule it out. We don't know what's gonna happen. So before you say yo, vote don't mean nothing, let's try it first. Maybe, perhaps, mayhaps. Are we good with that? Okay, let's do it. So you guys, I made a promise to myself that I was going to be starting early with my research on everybody who is coming up for the midterm election because I want to feel more empowered and ready and educated when I get into the voters booth. So I'm doing all this research, not just for me, but for you, because I decided to hit record and help you out. Okay, so I need you to stop what you're doing right now. Repost this. I don't care if you live in Georgia or not. You know somebody who live in Georgia? Go ahead, repost it. Thanks. Anyway, so for real though, last video we talked a lot about the gubernatorial candidates. Now we're getting into the lieutenant governor, okay? There is a long list of all of the positions that are coming available on this ticket. This is why this election is so important. So I'm gonna try and do these with a little bit more frequency and make them shorter and do the longer versions on YouTube if you need to, slow it down for yourself. And then make sure you hit 2 times speed on your screen if it's going a little too slow for you. I'm speaking as best as I can, okay? So like I said, we're getting into the lieutenant governor or lieutenant gubernatorial candidates this time around. I will only be speaking to Democrats because I'm not voting for a damn Republican. I'm sorry. Okay, so this is not going to be biased in who to vote for. You vote for whoever you want, but I will be going over the Democratic candidates. So what the hell does a lieutenant governor even do? It is the second highest executive official in 45 U.S. states. What I did not know, I always thought that a lieutenant governor was like the VP to the president, which they are technically, but they don't always run on the same ticket. In some states, they run unilaterally, and in other states, they run together. In this particular state, they do not run together, okay, in Georgia, all right? I was a little confused about what this person does, right? Like, I ain't gonna hold you. Like, I knew Kamala was there last time as a VP to Biden, but I wasn't quite sure what all her duties were. So let's talk a little bit about this. And I think it's going to be special to talk about this in this video because one of the gubernatorial candidates who switched from Republican side to the Democratic side served as a lieutenant governor from, I think, 2019 to 2023. So I'm going to use him as an example of the type of things that you can get done as a lieutenant governor. Y'all remember back in 2020 when Trump was trying to get the election overturned in the state of Georgia? Jeff Duncan was one of those people who was standing up against trying to uphold that we should not be trying to overturn this decision. Shout out to him for that. He also created was a part of a hate crimes legislation that came after Ahmaud Arbery was killed. Listen, I'm sorry, I didn't know your track record. My bad. Not too much on him, okay? He also was a big proponent in rural healthcare expansion. As both the lawmaker and lieutenant governor, he focused on improving access to healthcare in rural Georgia. He also, in his final year for criminal justice reform, he initiated efforts to address gaps in the state's criminal record database to improve information sharing among law enforcement. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, y'all. We're going to have to talk about that in the comments. And then technology and modernization. He advocated for 21st century solutions to transit, such as telecommuting for public employees and embracing autonomous vehicle technology for freight. You know what y'all need to do? Can we start talking about autonomous vehicles? I'm tired of seeing these Waymos around here. Can we focus on MARTA? Because there was a plan for that. There was a plan for that, right? There's no reason why we shouldn't be able to get around the city when we already had a plan for that. I would love to see you champion that. I just wanted to give some of these examples because I want to know what a lieutenant governor does and like why is their position important. So those were some of the things that he did, Jeff Duncan did when he was in office. So yeah, let's get into the candidates now. Right, first up on the docket, we have Josh McLaurin. I think it's how you say his name. First of all, homie is not nobody to be played with, okay? I took a look at his platform and I like what he's standing for, okay? So, first of all, he is currently serving as a Georgia State Senator of District 14. He's been serving in that position for 3 years, and I'm guessing, of course, if he wins this election, his term will end. But his term is currently set to end in 2027. So he's doing his campaign run at the same time as him serving as a senator. Things that Josh stands for: he's trying to tackle rising costs, so redirecting state dollars to working families, not corporate giveaways, because as you all know, in the past few years, the Republicans have handed billions, this is what his site says, billions in tax breaks to corporations while childcare, housing, and local services go underfunded. You think that's right? I don't think so either. Another one of his priorities is workers' rights. So he wants workers to be able to stand and strengthen organized labor. He also wants to expand Medicaid and save rural healthcare. So much like what Jeff Duncan was trying to champion or did champion, it says that Georgia's failure to expand Medicaid has shuttered a lot of hospitals and left 500,000 Georgians uninsured. And then he also wants to restore reproductive freedom. You hear that, ladies? He's for the poom poom. I like that. He says Georgia's deadly 6-week abortion ban is one of the most extreme in the country. Josh voted against it in 2019 and will work to overturn the ban. He also wants to have increased affordable home ownership. Notice he said home ownership and not just renting, right? A lot of us are trying to find cheap rent these days. Others would like to buy the home, put some equity into a home. He's just notating how much private equity ownership is happening of multi-family units here in Georgia. A lot of out-of-state people own real estate here. They don't actually live here, and we want to be able to better the pathway for folks to be able to own a home. So right out the gate, I'm feeling you, Josh. Make sure that y'all go and visit his Instagram, Josh_McLaurin. I'll put it on the screen. I like what homie's saying, okay? So I'm definitely not counting him out. Check him out. All right, next up, y'all, we got Nabila Parks, who is also on the Democratic Lieutenant Gubernatorial race. She is currently a senator for District 7 here in Georgia. This is dope. It says that in 2022, Senator Nabila Parks became the youngest woman ever elected to the Georgia State Senate at 32 years old. She is also the first Muslim woman and the first South Asian woman elected to the Senate. That's fire. Congratulations on that. I'm not gonna lie, I'm on her site right now and I don't find any of her stances or what her platform is about. So 1 second. Baby, okay, so it is not to your benefit, Senator Nabila, that I have found your Instagram, because there are some things we must report on, okay? So when I first went to Senator Nabila Parks' Instagram, it was really difficult for me to find like what platform she's running on. She's basically doing her campaign as, I'm a mom, I get it, I want to lower the cost. She said that she has championed bills to end sales tax on diapers. That's what's up. She wants to have a more affordable Georgia. So she was mentioning also on her page that she was once a renter and wanting to get a starter home, but people are getting outbid by Wall Street, who obviously have no stake here in Georgia. They're getting preference over people who are actually living here in Georgia. She wants to also improve reproductive rights, which obviously, yes, for the poom poom. Lowering cost of living just overall and protecting fundamental freedoms is what she said. Then I started scrolling a little bit more just to get more of an idea, because like I said, this is not on her website. She mentioned that her last day in Senate was March 13th of this year. She notified Governor Kemp that was her last day in Georgia Senate. If you read the comments, it's not looking too good. I think a lot of folks are confused about how that works. I think that would have been really helpful if you kind of did a video saying, well, how does this affect your constituents now that you're stepping down and going completely into the lieutenant governor race? Because it looks like as if Josh McLaurin, who's also running but is currently a senator, he's still serving his constituents at this point at the same time. So I guess I too am wondering, like, how does that work? A lot of folks are a little bit upset that you haven't returned their emails. Now you're leaving them without more representation in Georgia against the Republicans. So yeah, I think I'm a little confused as to how that works, but just in general, I feel like I could use some more information. This is not high up on the priority list, but if you all find some stuff about Nabila, please feel free. Let's head to the next candidate. All right, my lovelies, we have reached the last but not least, Richard Wright. He is not previously a politician, so this is gonna be interesting. It says that he got a GED in high school and he graduated from, but then went on to go to Hastings University and Arizona State Law. He is a certified public accountant. I think that's dope. Like, he's had a very non-traditional route, so I guess he would be considered the underdog on the Democratic side. But what I do like is when I go to his site, I see exactly what his platform is, okay? And he's very specific here, so I'm excited to kind of read through some of this. So Richard Wright, he wants to expand Medicaid. He's gonna do this he wants to create 300,000 new jobs. He needs to change the coding on this because it's a little wonky. It makes it seem like he's expanding Medicaid through these things, but I think they're just all separate. So he wants to expand Medicaid. He wants to create 300,000 new jobs, increase GDP, how you want to do that, additional tax revenue, how you want to do that. He wants to do rural area hospitals, medical professional outreach program through state credits. He wants to expand blue collar certification programs, historical tax rates, legalize recreational cannabis use, expungement programs, grant for underserved communities, sales tax seminar as part of state annual registration, raising over $50 million in sales tax and use taxes. He also wants to, he wants sustainable growth in Housing Act through the Sandowski Act. I don't know what that is. Hand up programs, expanding workforce housing, education opportunities. He's also championing robust WOTC expansion. This is under Small Business Act, so I'm not exactly sure what that is, but I'll try and put something here on the screen. Wants to expand credit opportunities, aka employer tax credits, creating new credits to remain competitive with neighboring states. He wants to expand manufacturing in rural Georgia and some programs in middle school geared towards STEM. Yeah, those are the main things he's running on. I did see this gentleman at the Impact meet and greet for the candidates, but I didn't get a chance to speak to him. So I just want to say kudos to you for actually having your platform nicely laid out on your website. I do feel like it could use a little bit more specificity about how you plan to do these things, but I really enjoy the fact that I don't have to search high and low for them. Y'all, I'm super confused because I just went to Richard Wright's Instagram and it says, let's talk about Georgia too. And it says, let's meet the candidates running for Georgia Lieutenant Governor. And I see 3 other people that I didn't currently go over with Nabila Parks and Josh McLaurin. They weren't on the Ballotpedia website. It never ends, y'all. The research never ends. If you've made it this far, I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you're resharing this, reposting this to folks that are truly going to need this in the upcoming midterm elections. Don't forget to register to vote by tomorrow. Check your registration, make sure it's up to date, and we will see you at the polls, okay? Early voting starts April 27th. Get in the game, get in the booth, baby. See y'all soon.